And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Tim D-O-double-G. And joining me tonight is the man behind the sound effects at Agent_70 on Twitter.
What's up, everybody?
And we also have at RowdyCat on Twitter.
Cool.
And watching from home at MattWang97.
Yeah.
And we are the Comic Book Chronicles. You can find us on our website, thekliqnation.com, where you can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles and comic book news. Follow us on our social media accounts. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to the Comic Book Chronicles podcast on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, and on the Codes of the Podcasts Network by going to cspn.us. Do it today. And while you're on CSPN, make sure to buy some Comic Book Chronicles merchandise by going to shop.cspn.us. Remember, we record live every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're on social media discussing comic books, use the hashtags Comic Book Chronicles and CBCron to join in the conversation. So the book we are going to begin with this week is an oversized 50-pager from Marvel Comics. And that is the Mighty Thor number 700.
700.
Bam.
That's right.
Look at all those Thors.
All the Thors.
All the Thors.
This
Bring back Thors.
Going to be real fun for the next week or two, month or two.
Did you have the lenticular cover for that?
I do.
Nice. Oh, that's right. Because it's the the Death of Captain Marvel.
I think there's one in the folder, but it's not going to play. So
right.
So in this story, we got the various tales of Thor's current, past, and future.
Right. The opening splash is a great a great one page by the inimitable Walt Simonson, and it's actually a lead into the unworthy Thor and what he's thinking about. And we are kind of dropped right into the next chapter in Jason Aaron's story of not the evolution of, but I guess the establishment of what being worthy is all about, because we start seeing what that means to Thor, and we also start seeing I guess Aaron's version of the battle with Surtur from Simonson's story, which is I guess we're reaching the crux of the story of the War of the Nine Realms. So we're definitely leading into that. One of the establishing premises of this book is about Malekith's forces, striking a blow against the forces of good, and doing at least a couple things that are fairly permanent, or at least as permanent as they can be in comics.
The only story that I wasn't too crazy about surprisingly, was the current day story with Jane Foster fighting She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they wanted to sort of mimic old Thor versus Hulk stories of the past, but this time updated with being the Jane Foster version of Thor and She-Hulk.
I thought it was a way for for Aaron to set up the current status quo so that at least readers like Roddy Cat, who are unfamiliar with the entire run, this has been going on for a while now, going on all the way back to like the God Butcher stuff. You can pick up this issue and really get a sense of where the new Thor is right now, like the current Thor, Jane Foster, is. So I thought that was a nice way to establish that, because we do talk about Jane Foster's health issues and how that's impacted by her becoming Thor. So, that was a nice way to establish that. But yeah, I think you're right in the sense that we needed to get at least a Thor versus Hulk type setup at some point in Aaron's run before he finishes it up. I thought it was okay. I don't know if I'm totally on board with I haven't been keeping up with the current Hulk. I understand now that I guess they're doing more of the, she's blacking out, and kind of going on a rampage thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize that. I thought she was in more control. The last I read about the current Jennifer Walters Hulk. So I was a little.
From what I remember reading, she was kind of going through things, and I need to catch up with that one also. But
yeah, so not being up to date on that, I was kind of not confused, but just taken aback a little. Like, oh, so that's where this is now with that character.
Yeah.
All right. But like I was saying earlier, like, we're kind of establishing a couple of like the opening salvos in I guess this phase of the war. We also see the reemergence of, I hit the spoiler bell. Spoiler bell, where are you? Here we go. We see the reemergence of the War Thor, who's prominently featured on this cover. So we didn't think he was going to go away that easily, right?
And I remember commenting back when, because I feel like he debuted in one issue and then it was over with in by the third issue of that story arc, and then that was it. And I was like, whoa, that was kind of resolved very quickly, but nope.
Exactly.
He's back.
That was exactly my thoughts. Those are exactly my thoughts also. So, I was like, oh, wait, all of a sudden, there we go.
Yeah. So that's cool. But as we saw at the end of the issue, he's got his hands full with the threat who kind of hovers in the background here on the cover.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's also kind of a shout out to, like I was saying earlier, stories that go all the way back to the beginning of Jason Aaron's run with Gore the God Butcher. So you can familiarize with that stuff pretty quickly when you're reading this. Also, there's a great cameo by, spoiler alert again, Throg, the Frog of Thunder. I thought that was hysterical.
Now that I did see. I think it might have been in an article, but I'm like, okay, they're throwing them all out there.
Yeah, it was a nice little. What was cool about it is that it was a nice little guest spot that actually made a difference in the story.
No Beta Ray Bill.
At some point, he'll come back. He was in the Unworthy Thor mini, so
maybe Thunderstrike will.
Yeah, how come he didn't make the cover?
Because I guess technically he wasn't a Thor; he was a Thunderstrike.
This is true.
Wait, is he still dead, or is he back alive again? I can't remember. I thought he died.
Not sure. Definitely wasn't keeping up with it back then.
Not sure.
Like that was the thing.
And just like sort of what's been the trend in comics over the last couple of years of having like a 2-page or 1-page spread depicting possible future events in the months to come.
Right.
So we got one of those scenes, which showed Jane Foster in her weakened human state, laying on the surface of the moon. Loki holding the Infinity Gauntlet with the stones in it.
Yeah, that's a juicy one.
We saw a worthy Odinson Thor again.
Right, with some alterations. We'll put it that way.
Some colorful alterations.
Yes.
I liked it. I thought it looked cool. Namor, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, the Namor appearance was out of the blue. Not surprising is an appearance by one Valkyrie.
Yeah, seeing her back.
Yeah,
especially with the movie coming out next week.
Yeah, exactly. What a coincidence, right?
And let's see that.
Is it next week? It's not next week.
Next week.
What? It's next. Holy crap!
No, wait.
No, not next week. 2 weeks from now. I'm
don't scare me, guys, because we're gonna
do on the second or the
Thursday on the 2nd.
Yeah, Thursday the 2nd. So it's
not next week. The week after next.
Yeah, because we're not going into movie protocols yet, people. Let's not scare everybody.
And I won't be here next Friday, by the way.
Okay. So, but like I said, we won't be going into movie protocols next week. So,
week after next, however.
Yes, that's going to be another issue entirely. So, just I guess to put a wrap on this, I'm not going to spoil it because Roddy Cat has not read it. I do not want to spoil all the stuff that happens in this. But I was saying earlier before the show started that I objected to, and obviously writers do this for shock value and to and to really get at some of the readers who might care about a certain character. Something happens to one of these characters, to a long time character. I'm not going to say who, but I all I could say was, "Oh, come on, Aaron, why?" So
Matt Wayne was a fan of the first page, Walt Simonson page.
That was pretty awesome. I know Walt has tweeted it out before, but it was nice to see it in its glory, Oh no, some goat curry over. God damn it, Matt. That's awful. That is awful.
If you catch that reference, then you're already been.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's a spoiler in there for you. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, no, big props to Jason Aaron and to the entire art team that was on this book. Some of the art was a little offbeat for the way Thor has been looking lately. The art's been pretty tight with Russell Dauterman, but shout out to all the contributors on this: Walt Simonson, Matt Wilson, Russell Dauterman, Daniel Acuna, James Harron, Becky Cloonan, Das Pastoris, Chris Burnham, Andrew McLean, Jill Thompson, Mike Del Mundo, and Olivier Coipel.
That's a long list.
Yep. I got everyone in one breath. Cool. All right.
Cool.
So what else we all read? It doesn't look like I have too many books with Roddy this week.
Let's see. Bring up the list here.
What's the other big book that kind of came out this week that probably had people thinking, or at least talking? You want to talk about Batman 33?
Oh, I was just eyeing that. Yes, we can.
Yeah, so let's talk about Batman 33 because this is in the wake of kind of a bombshell announcement. In the Batman book, something that I guess not everyone saw coming. I thought it was going to be the classic twist. Mild spoiler alert. I'm going to ring the bell just in case people out there haven't been keeping up, but I'll ring it. Because the title of this current story arc is The Rules of Engagement, leading directly from the events of the last issue, in which we find out one Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, has accepted the marriage proposal of Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. And all that you would think would come from that kind of starts here in this issue.
And we got to see the Batman Nightmare outfit from Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. That was an interesting choice of visuals there.
Does it also come in what, 3 weeks? 3-4 weeks?
Oh, you're talking about
Justice League.
Justice League?
Yeah, it's like
that is next month, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks after Thor.
Actually,
wow.
That's
yeah. That's before. Is it before Thanksgiving or the week
before.
of?
No, it's before.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's before. It's like they're giving Thor like 2 weeks to breathe, and then they're gonna try to jump in.
But they're not giving another show something room to breathe. But then again, it is what it is. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Fun times.
So, getting back to this issue of Batman number 33. Yeah. So the Nightmare costume setup from BVS does show up, and there's a reason why he's wearing it, because he's in the desert of some fictional Middle Eastern country, and the reason that he's there becomes clearer at the end of the issue.
It's not Kondak?
Oh, it is, but I'm not all that familiar with my DC map, so
I figured Desert Kondak. It's kind of a, I don't know,
kind of a given.
You would think you shouldn't do that, but hey.
Gotcha.
Expecting Black Adam to show up. So, yeah.
All right. So that being said, like the other kind of parallel story that's being told in this issue is the aftermath, I guess the fallout from the announcement or the reveal of the marriage proposal to the rest of the Bat family, or at least the male Bat family.
Wait, isn't that the Bat family technically?
No, because there's
I know you got
exactly like the male side of the Bat family. I got to count like Batgirl and Batwoman in there too. So,
but you figure immediate, you would think is just the dudes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I did enjoy Joella Jones's and Jordi Belaire's art in this issue.
My only critique with that was with the scenes with the Bat family, where they were hard to differentiate from one another. Like when the first panel in the library, when Alfred is talking to them, I was like, who's who? That was really my biggest problem with the art on this. Once they started to differentiate who was who by describing in the word balloons, then I could figure it out. But it was a little hard at first in some of those early panels to figure out who was there.
Between the Batman family members?
Yeah. Like when we're looking at them around Alfred, I couldn't figure out who was who based on the art as they were sitting there.
Well, Batman has a type.
No.
I like I forget the dog's name. Ace trying to take Jason's jacket.
Sure, and Duke Thomas being right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I like that. Once I figured out who was who, and I kind of backtracked to the page where the reveal is dropped on this part of the Bat family. I like that it was Damien who was like, "What the hell did you just say?"
Yeah. What? Damien had some good lines this week in another book he was featured in.
So, but like, I think it would have been far more funny if I didn't have to backtrack to that. That's why, that I guess my criticism of the art stems from that particular, sequence that I had to deal with. But, so, like I was saying earlier, we're dealing with the fallout, and, the pacing is kind of Bendis-esque, because we get to the end of the issue and we find out why Batman is in Kondak. And spoiler alert, it's not Black Adam.
Yeah.
But it does make sense. I hate to say this, it does make sense if you think about the new relationship, or I guess the next step in the relationship that Batman has taken, that he may have to deal with someone from a desert setting. Bum bum bum.
So, okay, here's the question, because I was just looking at Tim's notes. Is Duke Thomas not technically considered a Robin, even though we know he's not, but
he is not.
He's not.
Well,
he's not. He's his own character.
I know that, but
no, I mean like his own identity. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
They come out and say that in the issue.
He has not held the mantle of Robin, or at least not officially.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Cool. All right. So those are the two. I thought those are kind of like the two big books that came out this week. All the other Marvel Legacy books aside, I thought these two were kind of the highlights of the week.
Well, Tim, since you kind of brought it up during that, you want to bring up the reference you were referring to about
the Super Son?
Yeah.
I can do that as I switch to get the cover going. Where is it? Super Sons. There you go. So Super Sons number 9. This is the final part of the arc where John Kent and Damian Wayne were transported to another dimension to fight on this living planet. And I did some research, and apparently, like, this character so I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. Or actually, the planet has a name I think that I can't pronounce, but
you can't. It's not Ego, huh?
No, it's not Ego. It's like Gardis with the Y at the beginning of it.
Hold on.
YGARDDIS, I think.
Let's see. Let me see if I can pull this.
But
I'm just kidding.
Let me see. Look at it. Go ahead.
But another character that can create things out of clay, Cracklow. I did some research. Apparently, he and some other characters that appeared in, I think, like the first part of this story arc are part of a group called the Forgotten People. I think they were called a bunch of like sort of lower than C-list villains that teamed up together. So they, Robin and Superboy, also team up with these other two clay created teen superheroes to try to save save the residents of the planet, and also to rehabilitate Cracklow, who is having like a sort of a identity crisis going on. And of course they're successful, but they have to get sent back to their correct timeline or universe before they get stuck there. But luckily they've left the universe in good hands, because those two teen girls that they fought alongside with, they realize that they're not real girls. They're made of clay, but they've been inspired by Robin and Superboy to lead a new generation of young superheroes. It's like the final page is like of them creating the Batman Robin symbol that you see on the cover there, sort of the same BVS sort of symbol, and then them standing in front of a group of like a whole bunch of group of kids dressed up as superheroes, ready to fight the good fight, along with Cracklow, who also was inspired by the Boy Wonder and Boy of Steel. But there's this cool, funny moment when Robin and Superboy get back to their reality, and they're at, I guess, the Kent farm, and they're eating breakfast with Superman. And Clark hears like a train derail somewhere, so he gets up to leave, and he tasks Robin and Superboy with doing the dishes. And of course Damian's like, I don't do dishes. Superman's like, in my house you do. And of course he flies away. There's so many like great one-liners. Oh, and Superboy is great at he's the more naive, sort of good-natured, positive member of Super Sons compared to Damian's more practical, and of course, that's not good work for him. I guess as you saw in his reply to Clark about he doesn't do dishes, sort of sarcastic tone.
Sure.
But Superboy has he's gotten down how to give inspirational speeches down pat because he gives one like earlier in the issue, and Superboy references it later on, and he's like, he actually like compliments Superboy on it, so it was kind of like a cool moment.
All right.
So I love this series. I can't gush about it enough. Jorge Jimenez. There's a couple of panels I need to do some screenshots of a couple of panels in here and share them online. One is the scene of, I don't do dishes.
Right.
And there's like another one of like both of them sitting there at the table eating their breakfast. That's kind of fun and silly. But Super Sons is great.
That's cool. I really do have to catch up on this book.
Oh,
it's only 9.
Whatchamacallit? I recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, it's only 9 issues in, so it won't be too hard to catch up. I was going to add that you were talking earlier about the living planet, not ego, but I think Roddy was saying, because as soon as he said it sounded like Yggdrasil, I guess it's Igardis.
Igardis.
Yeah. I am this planet, Igardis. You're not ego. Okay. So, all right. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that this book is still going in a good direction for you, and they're a good pairing. Damian and this version of Superboy.
Yeah. So that is Super Sons number 9.
All right. What else?
Since we're on the DC train, I could bring up a book.
Go for it.
As I'm trying to get off this Twitter business here. Trinity number 14. So,
all right. I'm glad that you're still keeping up with this.
Me too, because I'm mad I've fallen off of it.
I mean, I never really got on it, but I'm glad that you're like constantly reading it and talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not like the flagship book you would think it would be, but it's still a good solid book that has the characters that you would want from, or most of the characters. Or actually, let me rephrase that: the characters you would probably want out of a book of this type.
Right.
And from DC, I guess, if you want to go that far with it, but it's solid. And the thing I want to bring up first of all is like, I think last week we talked about the book. I think it was Miss Marvel talking about a book that, even with the change of artists, that it's still comparable to what it starts off with.
Right.
And this book is similar. Like, actually, I think this week it's the same writer as it's the same writer as last week, but it's a different artist. Ken Martin, I believe, is the artist this week, which I think was not the artist for the last issue. I don't remember. Regardless, the artist's still cleaning that. But that being said, we're still in the same storyline where, was it Deadman and Zatanna got captured by Cersei and Ra's al Ghul over some Pandora pits, and they're trying to get the Trinity of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman to get dunked into the pit because they need it for some plan. Well, this week it all kind of comes out that it's kind of Cersei's big play, and she kind of makes her move. Constantine was in the mix and doing this Constantine bit, which ended up in Deadman taking over Superman and fighting Batman and Superman. But during the course of this issue, we see Cersei kind of stepping it up a bit by using Zatanna, and Batman tries to go and see if he can get a scientific point on how to fix this whole thing. But yeah, like I said, the crux of the story being that Cersei starts to basically plays her hand, and we see what she's going after, and she makes some moves towards that may or may not involve a betrayal of Rachel Cool and recovery of her own soul. So, but yeah, like I said, it's the book's pretty been solid and the art's been great on it. Like I said, you will see some of that when I get the posting some on CB Caps later on. But I think Trinity is kind of still pretty much worth a look into. Like I said, if you like the characters, especially if you like them in as a more of a
unit.
Yes, I was going to say like a family type unit. Actually, was the word I was going to use. I think you will appreciate that. Like granted, this one is more action than them showing off that parts, but you can still see them being like,
sure,
working with the other like always. So even though this is a different Superman than the original one that they knew, So
gotcha. All right,
it's a good book.
All right, so let's see. There's another. I didn't really list this book, Roddy, on my list because I didn't read it very carefully. I don't know if you wanted to do it in rapid fire or not, but I did read Doctor Strange number 26 this week.
I mean, I could do it now, but yeah, I could.
No, I was about to say because if you were going to keep it for rapid fire, then I'll just jump in if there's something else you want to talk about.
Yeah, because it was kind of the last one I read, and I was kind of
okay.
Yeah,
I skimmed it. Exactly. I was about to say I wanted to see what you thought about it, but if you read it kind of quickly as well, that might kind of play into what I was going to say too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like before we started, I was halfway through it, and it was like, and while we were setting up, I was kind of flipping through it. So I got the gist of it, but we can save that one for rapid.
Okay.
I can't did enjoy it. That's it.
I guess you want to do All New Guardians number 12.
We can do that.
Since I see both of us read it.
We can do that. All right. So, this is definitely an issue of transition in the Guardians of the Galaxy storyline because, we're still dealing with, I guess, the revamped search for the Infinity Stones that we are used to calling gems now. I mean, stones that we used to call gems. But
it's still to me, damn it.
Exactly. Right. So the team's been split up, on their various quests on Earth for is it the Soul Gem that they're looking for?
Yes.
And
technically they won't, I guess, all the gems, but I guess they're starting with the Soul.
Exactly, because that's the one that Gamora has a particular interest in. We find out, who's observing them from afar. And, there's a couple of guest spots in the issue that reveal, some of the characters who may be involved with this Infinity Stone business as well. And we're introduced slowly but surely to the idea that they're going to be adding a member to, I guess, an Earthbound or usually an Earthbound member to the Guardians roster.
Yep.
Yeah. We start with I hate to say this, the requisite Deadpool cameo. I know there's fans out there and I know that he sells books, but
Yeah. I feel like this was kind of a retread though, because it's like, okay, and you probably just said this and I blanked out, but like this is not the first time the Guardians have taken an Earthbound member.
Exactly. Yeah, it's their next Earthbound. Yeah, that's how I refer to it. It's like it's their next Earthbound.
Yes, at this point.
Yeah.
Well, wait, actually second, because
third.
Well, I mean,
fourth even, because think about it.
Earthbound, because I mean,
Iron Man.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but
so I count Captain Marvel to a certain extent because while she's been space based, she's I guess in the recent history, she's been kind of the protector of Earth by being stationed on that space station.
Sure.
And after that, Agent Venom
and Thing.
Oh, that's right. But they were on at the same time, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So then we're talking about we're adding another number to that then.
But yeah, Deadpool definitely was like the automatic. Oh, he Jerry Duggan writes Deadpool. Of course, Deadpool's going to join.
That's what
I like the swerve though. Did not see it coming.
That made sense. So, kind of sad because I was the one reading the Ant-Man solo book up until the end, and I'm just kind of
I did too.
Oh, okay. So, I guess you might mirror my feelings on this. I was kind of disappointed that I guess they're still doing a kind of like sad sack Ant-Man, kind of like, I can't get things right. I need to, reassess and get,
It's been going on for years, but it's just kind of worn.
Yeah, I'm like, we're still doing this. So, but I guess maybe this is where he quote unquote finds himself.
Well, and also you got to think Ant-Man and Wasp is at some point coming out, so I guess they want to keep that kind of.
Yeah, because I guess though he did play a role in Secret Empire, so he has been around still without his own series.
Right.
And I guess I'm going to assume he's going to be in an Infinity War since everybody else is.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Right. And, they are actually actively filming the Ant-Man and Wasp movie. So, exactly. And there's a nice guest spot in this from the character that I did not want to build in a 6-inch action figure Marvel Legends form, but I ended up doing it anyway with the Netflix Heroes set, that particular set. We're speaking of one man thing, the Guardian of the Nexus of Realities.
I almost thought they were gonna do him instead once they saw, Oh yeah, then the cool scenes. So they were seeing other dimensions, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Versions of the Guardians. It seemed like past and present and possible futures.
Yeah, that was. But like, it was weird because like it was like past and presence mixed together.
Yeah.
So that would be Guardians of Nowhere then, because that was a book that had that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like one of multiple realities. Like there was just like a cool mix of some of these characters.
Remake those characters then.
Yeah, you got to take a look at it though. It like Tim said, it was a nice scene. Yeah, don't mind me. I'm fiddling with my windscreen. But finally, there's a cliffhanger at the end of the book that involves the revamped Nova Corps.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about because they're like goons and
because it's supposed to be more like the movie. I think what they're going to try to do is, I think the original Nova Corps did have it along these lines where not everyone, I think only like the upper echelon dudes had access to the Nova Force. So, some of the lower level people, the scientists, the like the prison guards and all that stuff, they were, in uniform, but they did not have access to the Nova Force. So I think that's actually pretty, that's still pretty much canon, like old school Marvel continuity. So it's just the updating of that vision so that it's in accordance with the look in the Guardians movies.
There are less lanterns and more GCPD.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's they're their own mix of the two because they do have like the super powered like SWAT team type guys. They're not like Green Lantern Corps people because all the Green Lantern Corps members have have rings,
right?
So, but yeah, that's the cliffhanger ending, and I guess the next story arc is going to be called Infinity Quest. And there's some teasers for upcoming covers. Lots of Nova action in this, so I'm glad to see that Jerry Duggan is reincorporating the Nova Corps into the Marvel continuity. It's nice that he's had Richard Rider in this book as well.
So they've been doing some cool stuff in this series of the last couple of weeks or issues. I guess it ships bi-weekly, so I guess it is weeks. They just revealed that the Talon that stole some negabands from the Guardians is actually Richard Rider's brother.
Right. That's a cool twist.
Yeah. And then, like, I went back and read the other issue where he debuted to look for the clues, and there was one where it's like they on the Talon's ship, there was the remains of a Denarian Nova helmet, and they specifically say it was a Denarian helmet. And in the flashback issue where we find out that Richard's brother is alive, he's, they make sure to reference that he's a Denarian Nova.
Right.
So continuity, people.
Yeah, exactly. That was a nice little pickup of that thread that Rich's brother was out there.
Mm-hmm. So it's all going to come to a head, as you said.
Yep. All righty. So, it's funny, before we move on, I know that when we were at New York Comic Con, you mentioned that the regular artist on this book, not the artist on this issue, but the regular artist on this book, Aaron Cooter, was talking about how, the book's just not performing as well as it has in the past. And I think it's kind of going back to its comic book roots in a sense. It's definitely reincorporating a lot of the Marvel cosmic continuity as opposed to kind of going off into the movie stuff, but at the same time, kind of incorporating the movie stuff, like I was saying earlier, with the look of the updated or the current version of the Nova Corps. So, hopefully it'll gain some traction, because, it's not one of the last books I pick up, but there's been times when it's kind of towards the bottom of the pile, but I'm liking this new direction. Obviously it's re-energized with the jump start to the storytelling because of the Guardians movie and their new quest for the Infinity Gems, stones. So that served as a little bit of a kickstart to their storyline. So it's it's worth picking up. People, take a look at it. All right, what else did you guys read?
Here I got one. Shoot,
man, Roddy, you read a lot, and there's just not anything I've read really, except for Champions. You want to just touch on Champions real quick?
You know what? Yeah, sure. That was what I'm going to do, but let's do it, because that was all right.
All right. Yeah. See, I had a slightly different opinion because before we get into it, this is the second issue of a crossover between Champions and Avengers entitled Worlds Collide. And the gist of the story is that the Counter-Earth that's ruled by the High Evolutionary is causing a disturbance in the Force. I mean, is whatchamacallit, is causing an infinite crisis. Oh no, I mean it's
has come back again.
There's a lot of kind of parallels to other stories in this.
That's happening, and then Avengers No Surrender has been billed as like the Earth's exploding or something or another. It's a lot to keep up with.
Like, part of me is kind of feeling like, you remember that I think it was either Infinity or the run up to Secret Wars, one of the two. It was in it's all a haze at this point, but when future Tony, well, it wasn't even a future Iron Man came back, and they ended up merging two Earths for whatever reason.
Yes.
I immediately thought of that. I was like, please don't tell me that they're bringing that back up again, because they totally didn't really do anything with that at the time.
I heard that. Yeah, that was like wasn't that like a precursor to not Secret Wars?
It might have been during Infinity or somewhere around there. I can't remember. It was definitely on the run up to Secret Wars for certain, but I can't remember if it was in Infinity proper or like 8 months. It was probably one of those 8 months.
That's right. I remember that, where they were like trying to defend the Earth from was it a comet or something going to collide, and they had to phase it in. Something like that. Oh my gosh. Well, call it a deep cut, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I still have some of that stuff in my, but I guess it's starting to serve a purpose, because some of it seems like it's coming back.
Right, exactly. All right.
But regardless of that, we do see, the little split up teams of Avengers and Champions, going to help out around in various places that seem to be affected. That being the tireless buildings on Earth type situations, and they're all vibrating and causing issues for them. But what we did not know at the time is that it's part of a bigger plot, which also lends us to why we think that it's so similar to stuff we have seen in the past.
Right.
Apparently, the High Evolutionary's got a plan for doing this. Something he sent, some machinery and a Minotaur-looking thing to Earth, and yeah, we see a couple of Avengers disappear because they were exposed to the vibration in some kind of way, but they end up. Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Hold on, get this out there. Nope.
I mean, that works.
There we go.
On Counter Earth due to comics.
That's right. Comic book physics.
Yes. So, and after, which was weird because it was like, so there was a part of the book where it was like the visions were about to have a talk to the heart to heart. I'm like, this doesn't seem like the time for that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of one of the things that threw me off about this issue, that it seemed like that particular interaction just felt out of place, and it caused me to suspend my disbelief for a little while.
Yeah, but at the same time, but if you think of it in the course of, well, this is the Champions book, and because of the fact that Viv Vision specifically is in this book, and all of the action being kind of headed up by the Champions members of the of the various of the mini teams, you can kind of say, okay, well, we see why they put that in here as opposed to Avengers, but at the same time, it still seems like, well, that's kind of not the time for this. You could have that talk. and it is something that has kind of come up within recent months, being there's been tension between Vision and Viv.
Yeah, that's not out of the blue. It's definitely not something that's out of the blue. So
right, for whatever reason, because it's still, even that part, even though it's been kind of built up for months, seems like that's kind of been out of the blue in certain ways. But during the course of them talking, Vision kind of said something like, well, I got to talk to you because something's about to happen, and whoops, Viv disappears
right
before she says it. So clearly something's coming on the horizon, coming up.
Right. Couple things of note that struck me about this issue. One, I thought that Humberto Ramos's art was on the rough side. Did you notice that?
Like, in a couple places, yeah, but I figured it was
just a monthly rush
window. Yeah,
maybe this was the issue that he had to do when he was like off at a con or something. So when it's New York Comic Con issue time, maybe that'll be just as similarly rushed. So
perhaps,
yeah, maybe this was drawn during San Diego.
If that had been said, I would not be surprised. But like I didn't, it was
like rough in spots, right?
Yeah, it was definitely rough in spots, but it was like, okay, yeah, I didn't think it was like that out of the ordinary for his art. But I see where you're saying, where I can see your point in this, because I was like going back and looking at the rough spots, I was like, huh, all right, could have been a little more time on that, but it is what it is.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the gist of the story. Roddy Cat summarized it nicely. There's a couple of points that move the story along, but otherwise it was rather underwhelming. So I didn't really have much. When I finished this issue, I was kind of like, oh, okay. So, talk about underwhelmed. And I've been kind of relying on this book to be kind of a fun read, and I've been disappointed by this crossover so far.
I mean, up until this point, it has been fun and also a bit poignant at times. But yeah, but it is a crossover, so some things tend to slide in the crux of the book of a book, I should say.
Of course. Some things are sacrificed for the for the story.
Which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time,
it's a fact of life when it comes to these crossovers. So, all right. So what's next? President Bartlett. Where are you?
What's next?
Let's get to the other team, actually. Anybody read Secret Warriors by chance?
Nay.
No one.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, this is the end of that two-parter where KLIQ goes after Deadpool. They have a confrontation. The rest of the team is trying to get back together because Inferno's niece has been taken. Yes.
Okay.
So he's trying to get the team back together to help him, but they're trying to track down Quake, who's, like I said, going after Deadpool, who killed Coulson. Phil Coulson.
Boo!
Yeah, really. But hey, maybe he's in Tahiti.
Exactly. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, outside of that, this was kind of they seemed like they kind of, like, granted, it was always meant to be a two-parter and going into the next arc, where I guess going into the Inferno storyline. But even that being said, it seems a little bit rushed, but it's still kind of fun because there's a couple of good moments between Moon Girl and Karnak.
Okay.
That has always been fun in this book. But like I said, the majority of the issue is just, Craig's going to the edge. She wants to kill Deadpool because of XYZ, and of course, what ends up happening is she gets talked down from that while when another mitigating factor comes into play for a brief moment. So she gets talked down from doing that, and then it just kind of was like, well, you didn't get your revenge, but you can help us. And then the book ends. And then the issue ends, which, like I said, is going into the next arc of the story. So even though it was meant to be a two issue, even then it was still seemed to be just a tad rushed. But like I said, it still had some fun moments in it.
I admit to not being up on Secret Warriors, and we have to go back and check this out.
Yeah, I'd say Secret Warriors has been another fun, real fun read. We've hyped it up a few different times in the past. So, but there are moments it definitely still has in that, which is still cool. But yeah,
all right.
Pretty much Secret Warriors.
Cool. All right.
I would want to bring this up because I'm not sure why they even bring it up, but they make a note in the front of the book to say this takes place before Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 23.
I guess there's a reason for that.
You would think, but Devil Dinosaur doesn't even show up in this issue. And as a matter of fact, the only reference to him is a offline. I mean, just kind of one-off line from Moon Girl saying he's in timeout for something.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that you actually had to bring that up, but it is what it is. So.
All right. You guys want to get into rapid fire soon?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Because it looks like Tim and I are going to run through kind of the same books. Invincible Iron Man number. Yeah, Invincible Iron Man.
Yeah, I want to read this one.
Invincible Iron Man number 593.
And this is another one I felt like I probably didn't have to, because I think I'm probably about 3 or 4 issues behind in this one. And I feel like I probably didn't, judging by a couple of preview pages that I've seen, didn't have to read this.
You didn't really miss much.
Yeah.
Because you kind of understand what the premise of this issue is that the search, spoiler alert, just in case. So this is the immediate aftermath of Friday saying Tony Stark is missing, and we kind of get into why, the immediate aftermath of that, and why Friday is certain that it isn't quite certain what's going on, and there's conjecture between the higher ups at Stark, including Mary Jane Watson and the character that's been revealed as Tony Stark's biological mother, who is also part of this book. And Victor Von Doom has reappeared in this book, and I guess his story arc as the what were they calling him, the infamous Iron Man?
Yes.
Yeah, his story arc as the infamous Iron Man may be arcing towards an end in these upcoming issues.
Which he's supposed to play a part in 2 and 1, is he not?
Well, maybe not in these immediately upcoming issues, but
I mean, I'm just saying, in when 2 and 1 comes up.
Yeah, I'm just talking about like based on some of the story beats that go on in this issue. So, and there's a couple of cool little flashback scenes, and there is one big spoiler moment. It is Neo coming out of the protein baths, right? Right, Tim? That's Neo, right?
I guess you can call it that.
He's just free from the Matrix. He's the one. So, without spoiling too much, if you're familiar with that reference, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together.
My question is, are we supposed to believe that that's like a clone body for, I guess, the person missing?
Right.
Part of me wondered, was it his brother Arno? We haven't heard from in a while.
Right. That's obviously not clear.
You mean Back from the Future?
Or in the present?
Yeah.
Kieran Gillen brought him back.
That's right.
Put him in the current continuity when he was writing Iron Man.
That's right. That's right. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that, but that is definitely a good point.
Again, Teenage Iron Man. Think about it. bring back that dumb mess.
Oh no. Well, that dumb mess did bring us one thing. If you go back, some of the really, really rough art on that storyline was done by very young Jim Chung.
True. Somebody brought up was it Heroes Reborn? That was the case?
What's that?
Was that Heroes Reborn when that happened?
Right before.
Okay, because I was at my comic shop, and for some strange reason we brought up Heroes Reborn, and I was like, oh god, why?
Yeah. That's what I mean, that's kind of like the storylines that were leading up to Heroes Reborn that kind of kind of set the ball rolling towards handing off those books to Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee. So all right, so that's Invincible Iron Man. We kind of teamed up on that, not really rapid firing it. Do you have anything else, Tim?
No, I have a review that'll come out probably either this weekend or beginning of next week.
Okay.
For it, I actually turned it in before the show.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, geez, Matt. Oh God, why?
What is it?
Anything?
What is he doing now?
Just tweeted at Bendison saying that we want Teen Tony Stark back. That is not true. That is not true at all.
That is awful. Awful.
There's no truth to that statement. Well, rapid fire. So
yeah, rapid fire. You want to go through yours?
Yeah. We'll do. I'll blow through mine. Let's see. Star Wars corner, real quick. Star Wars Adventures #3. So again, all ages book. It's got 2 stories. One involving one stormtrooper, Finn, having a wacky adventure with some creature that they found on some planet they were above, and of course this creature is a bit of an imp and runs around the place. They end up in Captain Phasma's shower for some reason, and Kylo Ren comes in. Not comes in, but comes to the door.
I was about to say, what kind of book is this? I thought this was all ages.
All ages. I mean, you don't see anything. Like, you just see your shower running, and her gear. But then Kylo Ren comes to the door to ask her something, and Finn kind of holds her off with the helmet to the door. So I was like, okay, that's neat, And then there was a good bit where Kylo Ren was in talking to some folks. I think it was like Hux and them. I don't remember. And he was talking about there will be darkness, and then the imp, the little creature comes in and turns off the lights, and I was like, all right, like whose idea of a joke is this? But it's basically one of those like Finn's just chasing around this little creature, just getting in a lot of trouble, and then they end up you know, getting it back on the planet or whatever the case may be after it causes some issues. And the second story is what seems to be a thing they're doing is Tales from the Wild Space, which seems to have a message behind it. So it's this dude and his two droids, and then they start talking, and then they get into he starts telling a story which has a message behind it. And the story is was centered around Cassian and K2SO ended up babysitting some baby Wookiees, none of which named Lumpy, by the way. I should point that out. But then, you know, you get into a little adventure where with K2SO and the Wookieelings, you know, and of course, and you know, while Cassie is off on a mission. So like I said, it's pretty family friendly. Like if you got a little kid that you want to give a Star Wars book to, that this is probably one to do. Looks like they're going to go into another. I guess the front story will probably be looks like a start of a different arc next issue or something. But they've kind of been just, you know, I could think the first arc was a Rey story, and then like they've got this one and done Finn story, and then I think they're doing like Luke and Leia stuff with that. But it's all pretty much all of those lines. Let's see. Journey to Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Captain Phasma #4, which I believe is the last issue of this book. I thought this was a 5-issue book, but apparently not.
Okay.
So Phasma ends up finding the quote unquote traitor, Revis, after starting this battle between these natives on this planet and, you know, their pursuers. She deals with him, and wow, did I misspell that word? Sorry. Looking at the show notes at the time that I'm saying this, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but you know, that gets taken care of, and the basically the crux of this book is cleaning everything up to get to the point where she ends up in The Last Jedi, because she ties up some loose ends, and she is back with the First Order, and she's talking to Hux about what happened, and then the book ends. That's pretty much that. Let's see, where are we gonna go from here? Oh, you know that I forgot about this. I was gonna talk about this earlier, but let's see. Let's go down the line. Future Quest presents Space Ghost #3. So it's Space Ghost versus Metalis and his crew, who we find out are beings of energy after their entrapment, I guess. But the crux of it is, you know, there's a couple of fights. There's Metalis gets away. He ends up on this planet where he was going to exact revenge, but the events of Future Quest happened before he got there, which Space Ghost tried to tell him about. So he was denied his revenge, and poof goes Metalis. But out of it, Team Space Ghost get the materials they need to build new power bands, and they have 9 new pair of power bands. And Blip saves
Metalis. I'm sorry.
Metalis, yeah.
I said poof goes Metalis.
And Blip saves the day twice, which is
shout out to third base. I'm sorry.
Nice. Which is the thing that would happen in the old Space Ghost cartoons when when Jan and Jace would get in trouble and inevitably get captured. So that was that. We'll back up to Catalyst Prime Superb #4. I'm actually liking this like I've liked it, this whole Catalyst Prime universe for some odd reason. I can't really put my finger on it. But this one, where this book potentially starts to open up, because after the events of last issue, one of the characters, Kayla, who we thought before, or who folks thought before this was not enhanced, which means they didn't have powers, unfortunately has her powers she gets publicly brought out. trying to save the other character Jonah from being hit by a car, which causes a big kerfuffle because the group Foresight, who is the kind of the big bad in this universe, is trying to find kids to start a militia, although the top big bad, Lorena, doesn't know about this apparently. So this is just going on in this book. But they, Kayla and Jonah, along with this other character, go on the run because their families get captured by Foresight. Kayla's parents, who works for Foresight, did not know this stuff was happening. But like I said, once she got identified and her, whatnot, then her parents and Jonah's parents got captured, which prompts her to go into action, because all before now she just wanted to kind of keep a low profile. But now she is she's like, well, she can't let Foresight run around doing what they've been doing, especially since now her family's been captured. And she suits up for the first time as whatever plan goes into action they're going to do going forward. So now we get to that point. This doesn't really tie into any of the other Catalyst Prime books, but nevertheless, like I said, it's been pretty good in this universe. It seems like it's all right so far. Next up, that Optimus Prime that transformation thing would have worked out perfectly for this, because First Strike Optimus Prime #1 is what I'm going to talk about right now. This book takes place, like, nobody's reading this. I'm pretty sure no one on this panel is reading this, but First Strike is the crossover with all the Hasbro Universe books. It is the second one after Revolution, which I think I still need to go back to Revolution and try to figure out what in the world is going on with some of the stuff. Because in this issue, which takes place, which I did read First Strike #1, and this takes place around that time. So in First Strike #1, there is Cybertron is hosting humans because of things that happened in the past, and it's basically like a big peace summit type of situation. But in First Strike #1, that gets interrupted by I think Cobra and Venom, who are basically like anti-Cybertronians and have been building up towards that. But they have struck during this, and like I said, this issue of Optimus Prime, the First Strike Optimus Prime #1, kind of takes place around that. Them kind of getting ready for that event, and then it leads into that event where things just start popping off, and you see various characters from other Hasbro Universe books kind of doing their thing in this one. And I believe this also takes place after Revolutionary, which is the book that just ended. May have just ended this past week or something like that. I can't remember, but basically that book kind of goes into this event in that book. So like I said, we found a bunch of various Hasbro property people in this issue that centered around a book that's been out for probably a couple of weeks now. No, actually probably more than a couple of weeks at this point. And that was the gist of this one. What we do find out, or at least what I didn't find out, because like I said, Revolutionaries, I Revolutionary, the first crossover, I didn't know too much about. We found out that Flint's daughter is Marissa Fairborn, which, if you know that name from Transformers, like, that's weird. And there's also a human Cybertronian hybrid, some kind of way, that seems to have the mind of a guy that was from Action Team, which is basically the G.I. Joe before G.I. Joe. I don't know how that happened, but that's somewhere that's been explained somewhere else. But if any of that sounds any remotely fascinating to you, which weirdly enough is starting to be for me, you maybe check out Revolutionaries and First Strike. I don't know. Hasbro Universe, folks. Next up, talked about that. Last two books. Titans 16. Tim, you didn't read this?
I didn't get to it yet.
Okay, I figured this would have been one you would have gotten to, but so I won't. Without saying too much, after the event from last issue, a couple of things happened. The Titans are fighting the people that were around from them. Let's see. But there's a reason for it, because in this issue, kind of saying, hey, this is a fight you've been fighting against for a while, but you did not know it. And trying to, you guys been staving off a big bad person that that's been aching to come out. And in this issue, that person ends up coming out because of the events that have happened in this book, which includes Karen Beecher Duncan, aka Bumblebee, getting her memories back. But that opens a whole almost literal floodgate to have this big bad happen, and who we get to see at the end of this issue. But it's not who Omen, who saw this, was supposedly seeing this coming and was told that this was coming. It is not the person that she thought it was, or none of the Titans thought they were. And something bad happens to one of the team members, but that happened last issue. So if you know what happened last issue, you kind of know what it is. We also got a guest appearance by Kid Flash, aka Black Wally West, for some reason. That hasn't become clear just yet, but that is that. Last book is the aforementioned Doctor Strange number 26. So Doctor Strange and Zelma Stanton take a trip under Queens to apparently find dubstep or some magical items that, because of some ancient tomb that might be there. But it also ends up being a teaching lesson for one Zelma Stanton, who's also a magical being at this point. I actually enjoyed it. Like I said, I did kind of skim through the latter half of it.
Right. I was dealt that same kind of hand where I skimmed a lot of this issue.
Yeah, but luckily I had read like half of it before we started. So what I didn't realize, and actually you might say this is a tie to First Strike Optimus Prime number 1. This issue was written by John Barber, who's been writing the Transformers book for like, I think, years now, something like that. So that was interesting. Actually, I'm not sure if he wrote this First Strike book, but regardless, he has been writing Transformers. So there was that. But like I said, it was seemingly a one and done story that was also a teachable moment for Zelma Stanton. And that is that, folks.
Alrighty, so I'm up last on rapid fire. Forgot to cue up the guns. So here we go. Astro City number 48. If you have not read the most recent issue of Astro City prior to this one, pick it up, because this issue picks up directly from the events of the last issue by recounting the tales of one G-Dog. And it's a lot of fun. If you're a dog person, I know a lot of you are. I know at TimDog98 is. I suggest reading this 2-part story. It's pretty good. Let's see. Incredible Hulk number 709. Greg Land, get away from books I read, please.
Please.
This is Amadeus Cho. Kind of doing his own version of Planet Hulk. He is transported back to Sakaar, pretty much of his own volition, not by accident. And things happen, and it's all very underwhelming because of Greg Land. Shout out to Greg Pak trying to tell a good story, but damn you, Greg Land. Moving on. Let's see. Oh, the last book I've got then. Two more. Spider-Gwen number 25. I know that some people, just like PCN_Dirt, shout out to PCN_Dirt on Twitter, are not fans of Robbie Rodriguez's art on Spider-Gwen, but I still think it's good. It is distracting in some parts, but it's kinetic. It's got its own style, and it's consistent. He's still kind of adapting his style to, I guess, some of the digital art quirks that he can use now. This issue is full on the Spider-Gwen universe version of Venom, and this is her Venom storyline, and it's really good. It's actually, really well written. Jason Latour's got such a great handle on this character. He's got a great handle on the voice. That's what brings me back month after month. It's not necessarily Robbie Rodriguez's art, because, like I said, he's still sort of kind of working through a lot of the things that you can do on through the digital art platform. He sometimes gets a little too busy when it comes to his art, but at the end of the day, what brings me back to this is the Spider-Gwen character. I'm actually a fan of Latour's writing of her, so I recommend anyone who's even vaguely familiar with Spider-Gwen, and if you have familiarity with the Venom storyline of in the OG Spider-Man, and you want to see how there's how Latour puts a twist on it, give this book a read. And finally, X-Men Gold number 14. This is Guggenheim's love letter to the 90s X-Men. So continued, this storyline involves Mojo, capturing this gold X-Men team and putting them through various virtual realities, and putting them through storylines that mimic storylines or scenes from storylines that we've all come to know and love from the past of the X-Men. Everything from Inferno to Extinction Agenda to Avengers versus X-Men to 90s X-Men to there's a couple of great little callbacks to scenes in this, and made me nostalgic. But if you do not have that nostalgia to fall back on, I don't know how entertaining this book's going to be.
I kind of wonder about that, even if you do, because it basically feels like it's retreading everything. It's basically retreading all of that old stuff.
It's doing it in a different way, because to me, I guess retreading is like literally telling like the same story just with like some minor tweaks. Here is kind of like a greatest hits mashup. It's like, here, do you remember when this happened? Do you remember when this happened? So it's a little different. It's a trip down memory lane.
Get that, yeah. So you're right.
Yeah, it's a trip down memory lane where you get a little nostalgic. But like I said, if you don't have this nostalgia to draw on, I guess it's a means to get people to buy Marvel Unlimited. So,
yes.
So,
but like, why bring the X-Men back if you're just gonna kind of just
hit the same beats,
old stuff all the time? Which I think I was talking to my comic book guy. He was like, it wasn't the reason why he didn't like Blue, but it's kind of saying something on that one.
Yeah, so I mean, we've been very upfront about describing, and I think Guggenheim has been very upfront about describing X-Men Gold as kind of like his love letter to 80s and 90s X-Men. So, we knew what we were getting when this book came out, and we're now 14 issues in, and it's definitely running the same, running the same playlist.
Which is also kind of sad, because if you remember that book X-Men 93, which was pretty direct,
continuation,
of X-Men 93, the animated series. I guess this is kind of taking the place of that in a roundabout way, not necessarily the same way, because it's two different teams and sets of teams, whatever. But I don't know. Weird. I was gonna say something about Spider-Man real quick, because it's like I want to get back on that book, because I think I fell behind because of that Spider-Man crossover or something around that.
Mm-hmm. But it's fun. You can even skip that.
Yeah, you know me. That's not gonna happen. But I was gonna say about Robbie Rodriguez's art is like, it's kind of been like that before he started messing with digital realistically. Because even back in the days of FPP, it was kind of kinetic, as you said, like that. But I think
he's gotten a little even more, over the top now that he's really putting most of his art into digital.
With his eye issues, I guess, also. Yeah,
I think what I was going to say is I think the digital helps with his eye issues, because you can zoom in more, and really work the fine line work. But it gets a little crazy because now he can do so much more, with like adjusting lines after he's drawn them.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
All right, so that's it. So I guess if we don't have anything else, we can go into Clicks of the Week.
I'm still deciding
Nah, I'm good. Mighty Thor 700.
Alrighty then. Definitive.
I'm good. Damn it, Jason Aaron. Damn it with the I know there's still one more, but come on. I'm hinting at what happened. Come on, man. I sound like Ed Lover. Come on, man. Oh no, come on, son. That's what it was.
There you go. It's okay. He got you. Actually, speaking of,
do you know yours, Roddy?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do mine. I'm actually, despite kind of glancing over the last part of the book, I am actually going to give it to Doctor Strange number 26.
Wow.
Which, despite the glowing things I said about Trinity, you wouldn't think I would have, but
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but
Super Sons, Mighty Thor. Super Sons, Mighty Thor.
I knew that's what Tim was thinking.
I mean, you can go ahead and
I also have the hiccups now. I'm gonna stick with Mighty Thor.
There you go.
Why not?
There you go.
Ad read time.
All right. Yeah, I was about to say, while you go get some water, I'll
Yeah.
first ad of the night, and I'll try to go a little slower. So help us keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcasts Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, etc., etc., or a Simonson omnibus, Thor omnibus that I just picked up if you are watching on my social media feeds. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
And while we're waiting for Tim to come back, actually, I have a question. I could ask him when he comes back.
What is Matt Wang doing now?
I don't know. Clearly. But I would ask you, and Alexa, I would ask Tim this when he gets back. But what comic shop or dinner? This is my question, not no one else's. What comic book shop or dinner geekery would you recommend to a geek friend that comes to visit you? Now, you're in New York, so you got a lot of options. I recognize that. But is there one you'd be like, yo, dude, we got to go here? It could be comics, it could be toys, it could be both. Because I know a place like that, but
when it comes to New York, you gotta go to the main branch of Midtown. And I guess the number 2 place to visit would be Forbidden Planet. You know,
it's not for any of these places, but this is just a general question.
Yeah. We're not being paid to advertise for these, but in terms of if you wanted to make your visit, worthwhile, those are the places you want to visit because they have, I think, the broadest selection of things that you would be interested in. Forbidden Planet has a nice way of displaying their wares, and I think that's what is a good feature. But if you're looking for something and it's something of an exclusive, you will have a much better chance of finding it at one of the 3 Midtown branches, because if the main Midtown doesn't have it, they can call to see if their other 2 stores might have it.
Right.
So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple of places for me I could recommend. One of them I'm actually frequenting as a comic book store at this point, but there's Heroes and Dragon, which just started getting back into the new comics, but they also have a pretty decent toy line of stuff, like even old stuff. Like I found, although the stuff is is loose and sometimes don't have all the parts, but they have a pretty good even box sealed stuff that you find sometimes. And there's this other like board game shop that is called Firefly Books and Games that has a pretty decent, like if I knew people that had that kind of love of that kind of stuff, I'd be like, hey, go ahead. You might find something you like. But for toy people, I'd probably be like, here's a dragon. Check this out real quick. There's a couple of more comic book shops that I haven't been to. Well, that I haven't been to in my. However, for you, Agent 70, if you were looking for a record shop,
yeah, right.
There's this comic book shop that I also end up going to called Scratch and Spin, but they also has a record shop in the back.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is that's been like that for like years. And I haven't, like, I would go there off and on, but it's like I haven't, up until recently, I hadn't been there in like good years. So
gotcha. All righty. So I guess we can
get question on that. But
our news.
Okay, I was going to ask him, but okay.
I already forget that it was a week ago that the New Mutants trailer was released.
Oops, forgot to do this.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. I think what Roddy was getting at, just as I was hitting the news sound effect, was did you have any recs for if there's someone visiting you for comic book stores and or toy stores?
Yeah, like, you know, some real geeky people that come visit you, what would you recommend as a place to go?
I don't have any.
Like, I know, and you just moved not too far long ago, so you probably wouldn't be the same as.
Yeah, because I don't really. I went to a shop a couple weeks ago just to kind of like look around again, but it's like it's one of those like sporting goods / comic book shops. So they got like one side is comics, other side is sports college sporting paraphernalia. Because I live in the South and we're all about our college sports.
That's true. As another Southerner,
which I don't actually mind. So
right, yeah. I still it's one of my regrets that that Tim and I didn't have time to hang out and just kind of literally just walk over to Midtown Comics and just take a look. You know,
that would have been cool.
Yeah, made me think about that question.
Yeah, you know, it's like we're already in Manhattan. You know what I mean? So. All right. Anyway, getting back to the news, I played the sound effect already.
But yeah, New Mutants trailer came out and I didn't watch it. Still hadn't watched it actually.
Same.
You're not missing anything.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
They don't have. It's a comic book movie that doesn't use superhero costumes.
No, seriously?
It's edgy.
Yeah, they're going for a horror spin on this one. It seems like.
Well, I mean, if it's my understanding is that they're using elements of an early New Mutant storyline called the Demon Bear, and that was a pretty good storyline, right?
I don't know. I never read it.
I mean, I read parts of it growing up, and I'm familiar with it. So that was my understanding that they were using that as a basis for the movie.
That's the one that keeps coming up when you talk about New Mutants, which is weird. But sure. All right. Next up.
X-Men Dark Phoenix enlists Avatar Smoking Aces cinematographer.
Does this mean it's going to be good or bad?
Avatar was good. Smoking Aces inside know nothing about.
Actually, I've heard good things about Smoking Aces, but I've never watched it. I haven't. I should watch it.
X-Men Storm actor promises faithful Dark Phoenix adaptation.
This is the new Storm, right? This is the Storm from Apocalypse, right?
Yes.
Aaliyah Storm. Yes.
Yeah. Deadpool 2's Josh Brolin explains why he nearly passed on playing Cable.
Because it's Thanos, damn it. No, I'm kidding.
I know, right? I guess you can thank his wife for him for him looking at the script. The short answer is.
The ladies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe have asked for their own Avengers movie.
Good for them.
I mean, why not? You know, there's enough out there. Well, there's not enough out there, but
no. But at the end of the day, they could do A-Force and incorporate and introduce some of the other ones.
Yes.
You know,
or Fearless Defenders if you want to do that. I mean,
right, right. But if they want to capitalize on the cinematic side being Avengers and the TV Netflix side being Defenders, I think they want to keep it keep the A as opposed to going Fearless Defenders. But if they do Fearless, you know what I mean, as to avoid some of the confusion. You So,
Zach and Bink, really? Anyway, next.
yeah, I don't think they want people to think that deeply into it, right? That's a deep dive for a lot of people.
Speaking of trailers, we had the new trailer for Black Panther,
which was awesome.
Wait, did I skip that?
You did. At least as far as your tabs go.
Oh, damn it. How the hell did I do that? That's a gross oversight because, yes, that was an awesome trailer.
No biggie.
I sure did. It's a biggie to me, damn it.
It was awesome.
It was great, yeah. Oh, no
wonder.
wonder.
It was a great thing to see on a Monday.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah.
Moving on, Avengers 4 casting call suggests a death in the film is very likely.
Stupid Marvel. Yeah, sure.
Planet Hulk rumors
It's been kind of said that there's going to be a death in one of these two. So, I mean, come on.
Avengers 4. Oh, yeah. So just did that one.
Yeah.
Planet Hulk rumors subtly changed the ending of Age of Ultron.
Yeah, some kind of way.
Is that like somehow like, you know, casting off the Hulk into some far off, you know, locale?
Yeah, because I think if I remember Age of Ultron, he left in a Quinjet.
Right.
So, yeah, it's whatever reason they scrapped something in favor of that.
All right.
Paul Rudd goes on to run a new Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, autoplay!
God damn it!
I heard this music like autoplay.
Say it again, Tim.
Paul Rudd goes on to run a new Ant-Man and the Wasp set picks.
Stop with the freaking autoplay videos, fights. God damn.
Anyway,
yeah.
Guardians 3 will help launch MCU's new story. Gunn clarifies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to read that James Gunn is going to have a pretty active hand with working with Kevin Feige in crafting the direction of the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep. Which means some of your people you know and love probably won't be around because their contracts are up.
They just might be going in a different direction, and they may not have full movies, but they might have cameos and guest spots. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Spider-Man: Homecoming is out this week on Blu-ray.
Oh, I picked mine up.
Yep, same here.
I'm debating where to get on Blu-ray, or I have like a $50 credit on Google Play that I haven't used yet. So should I buy it on that and give that Movies Anywhere a spin?
I mean, that hasn't started yet, has it?
It has. I have it. I put all my stuff on it already.
Well, because I have the Disney Anywhere, which it still plays. I need to connect that other thing then. So, because if that's the case, I would say, well, yeah, I guess you could do the Google Play because then it would be definitely because I still buy the Blu-rays and still get that, and it still goes to all the places it's going to go to, which is
exactly. You can link it to everything now.
Yeah, which is basically Vudu. Well, actually, all of the Disney movies already go to Google Play,
right?
And iTunes and like Vudu or wherever else.
Yeah, I go ahead and buy it on Google Play and then sync it with some of the other random stuff.
Exactly, it'll show up on iTunes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know Movies Anywhere had started. I thought they were just thinking about doing it.
It's pretty awesome. I've been using it for a few days since I picked up. I also finally picked up the Wonder Woman Blu-ray. So being able to put all the stuff like that and stuff that used to be like Ultraviolet is all together now.
So. It's great. That's why I love the Disney what Disney did with it. So I'm glad other people caught up to it.
Yeah, they finally made a deal. There's just a couple of studios that still haven't caught on. So some of the movies that are in my iTunes movie library aren't in my Movies Anywhere. It's kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, coming back from that mild tangent, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5 footage teases Guardians of the Galaxy link. So I guess they're, since they're going into space, they're going to tease some space.
Which
related links.
Which makes sense because every season has kind of tied to whatever movies come around it, which I guess you would think because this season is about to start in December, it would be Thor Ragnarok, but I guess since Guardians was the last movie, there's that. And also apparently teasing the possibly teasing the introduction of Jack Flag, whom we saw early on in Captain America.
Right.
Right.
I remember you reported that.
Mm-hmm. So next,
Marvel's The Punisher finally announces a release date. Finally, do you have a trailer news drop in there too? News story in there too? Mm-hmm. They finally dropped that as well. Finally, they wussed out because of the stupid, that awfulness in Vegas. But
and guess what? It starts on Friday, November 17th, which, as we said earlier, is the same day as Justice League.
Oh, that I did not pick up on that.
Mm-hmm. Which I jokingly said you're not gonna you don't have to choose on that one. You go see Justice League, and
well, no, you don't have to because you can still see Justice League in some places on that Thursday night.
What is what I'm saying? Yeah. Even then, but like I said, Justice is gonna be 3 hours pops. This will be here on Netflix, whatever. So
yeah, you can pull that on your own anytime.
But it also depends on which one you care about even more. So I guess
honestly, I think the Punisher one might be more fun to watch. That
may be. Yeah,
we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, I want to give Tim Dog a little bit of a break to sip some more water. Wonder Woman 2 is set to film in the summer of 2018. So Patty Jenkins is set to break new ground as she brings the sequel to Wonder Woman to life.
Mm-hmm. We don't know if this is actually the case or not, but this is just a report.
Okay. Titans. Anna Diop reveals behind-the-scenes look at Starfire. So if you're watching on video, Roddy Cat has put up images from the article that he's referencing here, and
it's basically showing
some of the visual effects process.
Yeah, her doing mocap for the show that she did, that she showed off in a tweet. So yeah,
gotcha.
There you go.
So Titans, on more Titans news, Big Hero 6 actor cast as live-action Beast Boy. The Titans live-action TV series has cast Ryan Potter as Gar Logan in the Titans series. Ryan Potter is the actor who portrayed Hero in Big Hero 6. By the way, if you haven't joined Movies Anywhere yet, I think, and you are a Disney Anywhere person, you get Big Hero 6 free.
Right.
That's awesome. I had thought about buying that as recently as 2 weeks ago. And the second I went to Movies Anywhere, I got that for free. I was like, well, that was a good decision.
Which is weird because now I remember when I first signed up for Disney Anywhere, I believe that was the one they also gave up then. And that was a couple of years ago.
Oh, no, I got Monsters, Inc. for free.
Okay.
So I did it a little later than that. So
right. But yeah, so this Ryan Potter person who again played Hero in Big Hero 6 was, I think this is what, oh, that's right. Some people on Twitter wanted him to be the new Spider-Man after he expressed interest last year or whatever the case may be. But now he's a Beast Boy and people are excited about that. So next up.
Tim, you back in? You want me to keep going?
You can keep going.
All right. That's fine by me.
Actually, a Tim story, actually.
Oh, it's Adam West and William Shatner exchanged banter in Batman versus Two-Face scene. So, in a clip from the Batman versus Two-Face movie, the animated movie, the late Adam West and Burt Ward have a pretty funny scene with William Shatner playing Harvey Dent.
Which I believe it is. Is it a scene that's not in the movie?
Was it a? Is it a? Whatchamacallit?
Maybe in a movie. I can't remember. I thought it said in here, but either way, moving on.
All right.
Oh no.
What's that?
Nothing. Keep going.
Autoplay.
Oh.
Report: Baby Driver actress Elza Gonzalez tipped for Catwoman role in Gotham City Sirens.
Playing the titular character of Selena Kyle, apparently.
Ah.
If this rumor is to be true, or if this report is to be true.
I have not yet seen Baby Driver, so I can't really speak to that.
As I said on Twitter, I think I might watch it this weekend, but I think it's just the transporter for millennials.
All right. So the Flash, the TV show, I guess, just introduced a major character from the Heroes comics canon. So spoiler alert.
So yeah, this is Flash just the season 4 Flash just started, and somebody just got introduced apparently.
Oh, okay. I was looking. I was like, oh, he didn't put in who it was.
Yeah, that's just why I didn't put it in.
Good. Legends of Tomorrow. Kwasa arrives in fantastic fashion. So the article that Roddy Cat links to in our show notes contains major spoilers for Freak Show, the latest episode of DC's Legends of Tomorrow,
which also just started. But Kwasa, for those who are interested, is Vixen's sister.
Okay, I had no idea.
Who also showed up in the Vixen
animated the Seed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. DC Comics' Tracy 13 series is in development at the CW. So the CW is going to develop a TV adaptation of the Tracy 13 character. Set to be produced by Elizabeth Banks, who is, I guess, branching out from Pitch Perfect movies.
Well, she definitely has a little bit more production. Yeah, but
shout out to William Bruce West.
I mean, yeah, she's been doing a lot more production and whatnot, because I think didn't she have to do something? She's in, or it had something to do with behind the scenes also of that Power Rangers movie. I think.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Because did she play a role in that?
I believe she was Rita in that one.
So then, yeah, I think she did also have a behind the scenes role in that too. I believe you're correct. Alrighty. Jared Leto has confirmed that he's involved in Tron 3.
Yay for
PC and Unordered.
I know. What? Yay for Tron 3, boo for Jared Leto.
Well, maybe he won't be doing jokery things.
Oh, we would hope not. Which he was also in that new Blade Runner movie, which also apparently didn't do all that well. I still want to kind of see it though.
You know what? I heard that it was good. But at the end of the day, it's a sequel how many years apart from its original? So really, unless you were familiar with it, they can't expect like the huge blockbuster numbers that like an Avengers sequel is going to have. Come on, people.
I think they were trying. I wanted to think, given that, and plus think of how long after Tron Legacy came out, and kind of did all right, but I think they were kind of figuring, well, we could do it. And the original Blade Runner is already kind of dense, so how do you coming off of that to make a new one is
right.
It's good.
I mean, it's definitely got its not even a cult following, but a following, because
it's a cult following. Let's say that. Right.
But ultimately, like I said before, there's space so far apart that you just can't help. You can't help that. There's just not going to be that big a fan base to tap into.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right, so moving on. President Bartlett.
What's next?
So what's next is the logo for Solo, a Star Wars story, has been revealed.
Yes, we finally get the actual name of it, which is Solo, a Star Wars story. Given by Solo in a tweet, which led to jokes upon memes apparently on Twitter for a minute. But this happens.
All right.
Would you start?
Vanessa Marshall compares final Star Wars Rebel season to Game of Thrones. Oh, am I going to get these references now? So the fourth and final season of Star Wars Rebels premiered earlier this week with a two-part adventure hinting at the massive revelations the season will hold. And the direction of the season is so dramatic that Vanessa Marshall, who voices Harris and Dula, compared the final season to HBO's Game of Thrones.
And Rebels has its dramatic moments more than you would think it would. So I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being the case. Kind of sad that this show is going off the air, but it's had a pretty good run.
Right. So it's a tremendous thing that I am handling this section of the news, because we've come to a story that is, I didn't know about. I'm literally reading it as we're going through the news this week, and this is definitely news to me. And it's kind of fortuitous that I'm the one taking care of this news story. The legendary manga Lone Wolf and Cub may get a new movie thanks to Fast and Furious director Justin Lin. So I'm going to read through like part of this to see what's going on. So rumors have been circling about updated Western adaptations of Kazuo Koike and Goseki Kojima's seminal manga epic Lone Wolf and Cub for years. The latest attempt is now underway at Paramount, with some help from Fast and Furious and Star Trek Beyond's director Justin Lin. So I love this book. 28 volumes of mildly repetitive but still very awesome samurai action.
I don't know how to feel about this because of the Justin Lin thing, but I would like to say, may I interest you in the 2 early 80s adaptations called Shogun Assassin? I think it was 2, but these are the only 2 I have.
Yes, they have. They also have Lone Wolf and Cub that are titled Lone Wolf and Cub. Whatchamacallit? Movies that are out on DVD. I do have those. So, and I do have Shogun Assassin. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I would point you to those before this, because the first one especially is quite sampled and quite good.
Yes. Right, but it would be interesting to see kind of an updated version. There'll probably be a lot of wire work. Lots of people, lots of ninjas jumping around.
I mean, we would hope, but I hope it's just not too Hollywoodized, because Hollywood will fuck us.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just hope that there aren't dirt bikes. I'm sorry. There won't be drifting.
No sabotage playing in the background.
He's gonna fit it in somehow. Because that's just what's there. I mean, granted, that's kind of from whatchamacallit, from who rebooted Star Trek?
J.J. Abrams.
Yes, that came from the Abrams the first movie. So
the Kelvin timeline, but
yes. So all right. So we're done with cinematic, or is there anything in the news?
Actually, there's one more, which was on the other page, and I that one up. Get to know the big screen, Barry Allen, and new flash clip from Justice League. And that's pretty much it. And it's from a featurette, which I guess is going to probably end up being on the Blu-ray.
Gotcha. So, cool.
There you go.
All right. So let's move on to the comics news. You want to tag team this?
Sure.
All right. So
we asked experts. So this is from Mike. They did they asked experts to grade Marvel Comics diversity efforts over the last 3 years, and people have said they could do better. But the short story is they could do better, but they've been trying. Especially, I think that is exactly what David F. Walker said. Now that I think about it, his quote here is like, "I see them really trying hard. There's tons of room for improvement." So yeah.
Sure. And some retailers I'm friendly with mentioned that this part. I think we talked about it. Didn't we talk about this about the New York Comic Con stuff? About the panel that they had, the retailer panel?
I did on my solo one, but I don't remember if we talked about it last week.
Okay. So just very quickly, I spoke to some retailers who were at that panel at the New York Comic Con, the Thursday retailer panel, and they confirmed pretty much everything that was going on, and some of the retailers that had really valid points about some of the sales tactics and the quotas that they were imposing for the variant covers were kind of doing a number on a lot of businesses, but then they went into ranting about the social justice aspects, and they kind of went off the rails.
Yeah, like I said, when I did the solo episode, I kind of mentioned it because there was some other view off for that. That it wasn't just that; it was they were also talking about the other things, like you just said. So
Right.
But moving right along.
All right, so Marvel Legacy Week 1 sells out and gets second printings. Okay. So I guess last week's stuff.
Yeah, like Avengers 672 and all the Spirit of Vengeance, which actually is not bad. I remember talking about that.
I haven't read it yet. I had it
It's
not.
all right. Like, not much really happens in it, but it kicks stuff off. I'm curious to see what they do with it.
Cool. All right. You're up next.
Stop.
Coinage. Life well spent. Presented by Geico.
I mean, the conventions were just down and dirty. There'd be like 4 or 5 comic books.
All right.
I
That's
love
like
it.
particularly, and because I've had to do that before, because that site, like, even though y'all saw me clicking the button, it wouldn't stop. Anyway, Jim Davis, aka the creator of Garfield, is writing a story for Squirrel Girl. A Galactus story for Squirrel Girl, to be exact. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's weird because I was kind of surprised about that. I was like, that's interesting, but it's also like, well, if it's Squirrel Girl, so I guess that's a neater fit than anything.
Right.
So Galactus is probably going to hate Mondays. There you go. Next up.
Marvel Comics will reveal Benicio del Toro's, not Antonio Banderas, but Benicio del Toro's Last Jedi character's backstory. That's a joke based on a Heineken commercial.
Yeah.
So
I remember what you're talking about.
so Benicio del Toro set to debut as the enigmatic DJ in Star Wars The Last Jedi sequel. So they're going to expand on that character's backstory in the Marvel Comics continuity.
No surprise to nobody.
Right.
Oh, we should actually take this time to mention that the rest of January's 2018's lists are out, so that's where some of the stuff is coming from. Next up, Joe Quesada asks for help recovering stolen artwork. In hey, don't let people stay at your house, even though you're well-meaning news. Apparently, 185 pieces of art was stolen from Joe Quesada's home last year, and it sounds like it has to do with a quote-unquote a personal friend and contractor of him who was sitting with him, who after getting hurt doing some household repairs.
Okay.
That Quesada asked him to do, but then this person ended up squatting in the house and then dipping out, at the same time he dipped out, there was a whole bunch of art was missing, and apparently there is a lead on the story at the bottom of this saying that this person, well, basically, if you know anything about it, called the Sparta, New Jersey Police Department, and there was a lead that apparently this person was trying to re-enter the country after being in Italy. So that's sad news for Joe Quesada, but it is also listening. Hey, don't let just anybody stay at your house.
Yeah.
Even if we're doing you a favor for a minute.
What's next? Teen Titans Raven goes solo in Daughter of Darkness. So it's a 12-part maxi series that's going to explore the current Raven. I'm not all that familiar with the current Raven, but that's cool.
Yeah, so I think Raven had a mini-serial, I guess what ended up being a mini-series either earlier this year or late last year. I can't remember. I remember reading an issue of it, and now they're giving her another where she will, I'm not sure because I don't know how that book went. So, but it's been written by Marv Wolfman, so there you go.
Right, the character's co-creator, so that's pretty cool.
Next up, sad news. Lynn Wayne, is it Wayne?
Ween, I think.
Wayne, final Swamp Thing story sees print in January. So, yes, next January, Swamp Thing Winter Special #1 will come out, and that is the last story that Lynn Wayne did before his passing fairly recently in September. Yes. So that being the last thing he wrote. Isn't it still coming out? I believe it's a one-shot. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's a one-shot.
Yeah.
Because I think Tom King and Jason Fabok are doing something for it.
Right. So look forward to, or not look forward to that come January if still bummed out by it.
All right, so I get the fun stories.
Actually, take these next.
Yeah, I can combine this too. So Batman, the White Knight a miniseries features the first ever Joker and Harley Quinn sex scene. So Sean Gordon Murphy is delivering some never before seen footage, or at least telling the never before seen story of the Joker and Harley getting down. And the miniseries itself has been expanded to 8 issues.
The sex scene aside, this story seems more interesting than any Batman story of recent note for me. So I might want to check this out.
It does seem kind of interesting. I started the first issue and I haven't finished it yet, but definitely seems intriguing.
Did it come out this week, did it? Or
no, it came out like 3 weeks ago.
Did it?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Oh, well, damn.
It was well before New York Comic Con, I think.
Right. Okay, well, I'm slipping. Cool. Next up, Flash War. First story details revealed. So, like you said, solicitations are out, and apparently there's an upcoming arc called the Flash War that is going to prelude in Flash Annual #1 and run through Flash 46 through 50. Excuse me, pardon me. And looks like this arc is going to pit Barry Allen against the original Wally West, which given the events of this week's Titan, I guess, spoiler alert.
Hold on. Spoiler alert. Gonna ring it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say what it is, but I'm just saying if you've read Titan this week, that would negate this from happening. But hey,
okay.
Apparently the character's gonna be around. So there you go.
Alrighty, so here's an interesting story. DC's gay playwright Snagglepuss returns for a new miniseries. So Hanna-Barbera's Pink Mountain Lion will star in Exit Stage Left, the Snagglepuss Chronicles, from writer Mark Russell, who's written Flintstones, and artist Mike Feenan, and debuts in January from DC Comics.
Heavens to Murgatroyd. Next up, we have DC's Green Lantern Corps will kneel before Zod in 2018 because solicits and Zod's going to be in Green Lanterns. Hell, in the Green Lanterns for some reason.
You skipped over one. Was this old news? Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner.
Nope, totally did miss that
exit
one.
Harley Quinn, and a new creative team announced. So those two are leaving, and incoming are Frank Thierry and artist Inaka Miranda, starting issue number 35.
Yeah, I got my links messed up on that one.
That's okay. So you can take the next one. It's a sad one. You want me to do this one?
I'll do it. Yes, and other sad news. During the recent California wildfires, we found out that the home of Peanuts creator Charles Schultz has been destroyed.
A lot of his work had been preserved at a local museum, which did not go up in flames, but a lot of the
stuff there,
the personal stuff, the memorabilia stuff.
Mm-hmm. So that's sad news.
That one hurt.
Yeah. So next.
All right. So next, Samoa Joe makes his debut in the Boom Studios WWE Comics. Good for him.
Yeah. Didn't apparently. So the other step to become a writer is become a wrestler. And express interest in writing comics. Because this happened twice, 3 times already.
Yeah, with whatchamacallit,
Punk 1. I know there's somebody else, but I don't know and don't care. So yeah, there you go. Samoa Joe. Boom. Like literally, boom. G.I. Joe and $6 Million Man team up in IDW crossover because IDW loves their crossovers.
Anyway.
I mean, you had Bionic Woman and Wonder Woman, which I still hadn't finished now that I think about it. G.I. Joe and $6 Million Man, not a big stretch.
Yeah, that's really not, to be honest.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't G.I. Joe poised to be a G.I. Joe member at one point? Or at least they were going to do a figure for him? I'm maybe
not sure
on that one, but I'm not sure. Next.
All right, so Rugrats is going from Nicktoons to Comics Kaboom.
I believe the first issue came out this week.
Nice.
Yep, sure did. So there you go. All you 90s kids and your Nickelodeon Rugratdoms, go for it.
All right, we're in the home stretch now, people.
That's probably up Tim's alley, but we don't know. Miss Classic Vertigo Stories. Shelley Bond promises a return with her Black Crown imprint at IDW. So yeah, she's got a new print and she's back with some stuff, which I believe, now that I think about it, this book has also came out. The Kid Lobotomy #1, yeah, it just came out from that imprint this week. And Black Crown Quarterly, which is, I think, is an anthology series, is coming out next week. So if you are a fan of Shelley Bond and her work, go check that stuff out.
All right. Stan Lee's Marvel cameo characters, Marvel Cinematic Universe cameo characters are all getting Funko Pops. Now that's some funny stuff.
All right. Will we get the strip club DJ from Deadpool?
Oh, no. I hadn't even thought of that one.
Having just watched Deadpool again for some reason, or it was on for some reason recently, I just happened to be on that scene. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that happened.
That's funny.
I think last but not least, no,
you got one more. You got one more. I got one more.
But one more. Titans of Tomorrow are coming to DC's Rebirth. So yeah, the Titans of Tomorrow are coming to Super Sons of Tomorrow, crossover between Superman and Super Sons. Which came out in the solicits, and I guess looks like it's going to be starting in Superman 38, according to this, by the writers of the book. So, yeah.
And last but not least, we find out in the Marvel current continuity of Star Wars comic books, droids can also find love. So apparently, it's revealed in the Poe Dameron comic that's ongoing at Marvel. I can't believe it's up to issue number 20.
Yeah, that issue came out this week, and yeah, apparently BB-8 and this other droid has this thing, might have a thing going on.
That works.
Sure.
Good for them. And on that note, we have reached the end of the news portion of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles, and we're going to read our last ad of the night before we wrap up. Our last ad of the night is for mycomicshop.com. Today's podcast is sponsored by mycomicshop.com. Go to cspn.us, then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, click on the My Comic Shop banner and order from a vast selection of new releases, back issues, vintage classics, graphic novels, and more to be delivered right to your door. Why bother schlepping to the local comic book store when you can order your books online? My Comic Shop through cspn.us. Do it today.
And make sure to follow us on our individual Twitter accounts. I'm at TimDOGG98 and at CBCron. RuddyCat is at RuddyCat and at News Nerds Need. And at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent 70 is at Agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram. And PCN_Dirt on Twitter, and go to his website, popculturenetwork.com. So as I said, I'll be out next Friday. I'm sure the fellas will hold it down for me while I'm out.
Got it.
And then the week after that, more than likely all three of us will have seen Thor Ragnarok on the Thursday night. So we'll talk about it a little bit on the following Friday.
It's crazy that it's coming out so fast.
Right? I'm mad I got better seats for Thor Ragnarok than for Star Wars Last Jedi.
I've got tickets for neither.
Oh, really?
I got tickets for
your chances are probably better for Ragnarok at this point than Last Jedi, right? Because I don't know about your theater, but with mine, the seat I got was like right up front, and it was packed. It is packed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Thor Ragnarok screening, the first Thor Ragnarok screening at 7 p.m. at the Lincoln Square IMAX 3D is pretty much packed except for the front row, and I didn't want to sit in the front row, so I haven't gotten my tickets yet. I got to talk to
in standard, which I'm mad I can't watch. Well, I guess I could watch IMAX, but usually most IMAX is in 3D, and I can't do that. So,
gotcha. Alrighty, so I guess you can do the outro, and I do have some music for the outro too.
Okay.
We are the Comic Book Chronicles, and we are signing off.
Peace.
The empty pocket needs a refill. I got a squad with a list of complainers. I should have started rape rappers against phony entertainers, so we can make it known that we won't get swayed. It's 91.